we've got the curved washer on there that's marked. We're going to put our rubber gasket, stick that in the hole that's been chamfered, and we just line these back up again so that this mark is lined up with that mark. With if you use a Sharpie, you'll want to use some polish to remove that mark. If you use a dry erase, you can just wipe it off. So this will also come in the mounting hardware kit. What this is for is you're going to screw this into here. There's just one. This will be your handle to hold this while you're snugging it up. So this is the part where you need two people for the installation. So we've got a backing plate, a couple backing plates on the inside. The guy on the outside is just going to hold this and watch that mark, your reference mark, to make sure it's not turning. So the guy on the outside, usually it's not going to turn, but he's just going to hold on to this and keep an eye on that while the guy on the inside tightens up the nut that goes on it. Okay, so we found on every boat, usually the outside of the boat is curved. So we've already went over how we match the shape of the fiberglass by curving radius in this piece. On the inside, this piece, this is your first backing plate. So if we put it on the inside, it's going to touch just in the high spots and have a big void in the middle. This would go over the top of it, so there's a nut that tightens this onto here and sandwiches in between the fiberglass. But to make sure we're not going to get any cracks, the tower will come with a 2-part epoxy paste. So he's mixed up the paste already. He's going to butter this backing plate up and then put it on the inside of the boat. Put this on, put his nut on. He's going to tighten it till epoxy starts to squeeze out the edge. As soon as it starts squeezing out the edge, he's going to stop and go to the other side and let this cure. It takes about 15 or 20 minutes to cure depending on temperature. So he'll butter this up, put it on, have the person on the outside hold that black bolt. As soon as it starts to get tight, then he will go to the other side and do the same thing. My job is to hold this from spinning. I've got my reference marks that are lined up, and while he's putting the composite backing plate with epoxy on it, he's pushing that up against the fiberglass, then that aluminum plate goes over the top of it, and then a washer and a nylock nut. On the inside, this is showing a kind of a close-up of the backing plate. You'll see the composite backing plate that we put epoxy on, and then an aluminum plate over that, then a nylock nut. When you're tightening this down, just make sure that the backing plates are following the lines of the boat. After both sides are drilled, you've got the mounting feet in the proper place with your reference marks lined up. Now we're going to attach the tower to that mounting foot. Take the bolt out, set that there. Now we're just going to set the tower up on top. So you can see here, we've kind of guessed how this should be, the angle of it. What we want to do is to make sure that these two faces line up. I can stick that through there and twist it that way. If this one is off, suppose this were setting on there, I'll turn it this way, like that. Well, obviously that's not the right way, but in combination of twisting out, you should get those two faces to line up like that. So we get those faces close. After this is tight, you don't want to crank it down all the way. Just for now, snug it down. Then we'll go to the back, and when we're all done, we'll go back with a Allen wrench and tighten these down as tight as we can get them. But for now, you just want it snug. Okay, now we're ready to mark the back holes. So kind of what we're doing, we had it up there once. We just want to make sure that this lines up with this top edge of the window frame. You just stand back, come down about 1/2 inch, Brian, right there. Just trace around that. That I do just to make it symmetrical is, like if you have a line you can measure from here or here, I will measure off of this side here. So from this crease right there, we're down about 3/4 of an inch. So on the other side, I'm going to come down 3/4 of an inch and make sure that we're symmetrical on both sides. It's best not to use pinstriping because the pinstriping can be off a little bit. It's better to find a body line in the top deck itself that you can measure off of, either up from here or down from there. So you can see how curved this is. If we were just to put a flat piece of aluminum on this, you can see what that would look like. See how much that would rock back and forth. And what would eventually happen when we tighten this from the inside, over time it's going to flatten this shape out to match this, and it's going to stress the glass all around this. So what we want to do is use one of these mounts that's machined to that. So you can see how if I put that up there, it can't rock back and forth on the top or the bottom because we've shaped that to the curvature of the boat. This makes sure that when the load's put on a tower, if a guy's doing a hard cut, that it's not just stressing one part of the fiberglass, it's spreading that load over the whole thing. On the inside, it's curved there just like in the front, so we would use the epoxy paste on our backing plate to kind of fill in the void on the inside too. So we would stick this in our rubber washer, put that in there and line that up with our mark and tighten it back just like we did on the front.